Have you ever used a metal detector? Yeah, me either. But what if there was one for clutter? I feel a little triggered. Well, hello friends, I'm Mary Beth with At What Cost, where simple living and deep faith go hand in hand. And today we are going to deal with paper clutter. And I can't think of a better time to do it than to be part of the Mega Motivation collaboration hosted by Robin from Minimalist Home and Denise Jordan from This and That with Denise Jordan. I'll leave a link to the playlist in the description below and at the end of this video. So be sure to check out all of those other YouTubers who are all tackling paper clutter. And although that clutter detector would be amazing, it's 100% still in the development phase, so we are going to have to do this manually. Before we tackle these piles, oh, it's so bad, y'all. It's so bad. We need to just recognize that paper clutter is difficult to deal with. It just is. Now, using a metal detector is exciting. We don't know what's happening. We're going to dig up some treasure there, and there's this sense of mystery. When it comes to paper clutter, the mystery is a different kind of sense. I don't think anyone's really excited about what they're going to find in their stack of paper clutter. Aside from the occasional gift card, unless you're like me and you find a $100 Toys R Us gift card a year after they go out of business. That's the problem with paper. We miss out on things. There's all of this mystery. It's kind of scary, but it can be one of those areas that if we really lose control over it, a lot of things can potentially be out of whack. So obviously, this is a faith-based channel, and you're probably wondering, how do we tackle this differently than anyone else? Well, we draw from the Holy Spirit to guide us and motivate us to really bring order out of this chaos. And we take it a little slow. In the guide we're using by Dawn from The Minimal Mom, Decluttering Your Home in 15 Minutes a Day, she reminds us, and very importantly, that this office and piles of paper, these things did not happen overnight, and they are going to take some time to get through. But if it doesn't happen overnight, how does it happen? Because this is a room that I use every single day. And you would think that being in this room, I would be able to keep up with the constant flow of everything that comes in. But that's where you'd be wrong. Obviously, because look at it. A majority of the issues that I end up having with paper are really related to habits. One habit specifically. The habit that I am often trapped in when it comes to paper clutter is deferred decisions. Unfortunately, even selecting the paperless route for most of our bills and mail, having informed delivery so we can see what's going to the mailbox before we ever even get there, the mail that we actually do need, school papers, and having children with special needs, we also have parent responsibility handbooks and IEPs. Those are individual education plans for those who are not familiar with the acronym. There is a lot of paper coming in. And although I am very glad that my kids' teachers are sending home their work so that I can see what they are learning and how they're doing, on the other side of that, I sometimes can end up with a stack of papers that I have thumbed through, but I'm not quite sure what to do with them, and so they just kind of sit. I get frustrated and want to actually do my work with a clear head, and so I move that pile somewhere else, it invites someone else in my home to start another pile there, and so on and so on and so on. We defer decisions for a lot of reasons. Maybe we're busy or tired, it's hard, or we have more work ahead of us than we feel like we actually have time to do, so we put the whole thing off. I mean, I don't have to list out all the reasons. You know why your stuff just sits. And the best way that I can deal with a lot of the issues that we're having in this room is really by taking a look at my habits. But before I can change my habits, I have to really understand what we have. Now, because this room is quite overwhelmed, my intention is not to finish all of this in one day. It's really going to take me several sessions to get down to the bottoms of these piles. And that's okay. I'm gonna set my timer for 15 minutes and I'm gonna work through the pile here on this credenza. And that is all that I'm going to do in that 15 minutes. Unless, of course, I finish early, which I doubt will happen. Like, look at this, y'all. There's so much here. But if I do finish kind of early, then I can move on to something else. I can organize some of the items that I have. I can keep going with my decluttering, or I can just stop after I finish this one session and it will be okay. Okay, so I have my categories and I'm ready to start doing some sorting. I have trash, which I've already started kind of taking care of some of this stuff. I also have books that need to go upstairs, work papers and items like that for myself, sentimental items because of all of these things that come home from school, important papers, office supplies, and just general donations. Oh, I got a card from a viewer. I love this card and I have saved it. So Heather, if you are watching this, thank you. I did receive your card and I really appreciate it. Okay, so now that I have everything sorted, I have my important papers, I have my donations, sentimental items, I have a box of stuff to go upstairs, and I have a little side pile that I didn't realize was in there, and that was craft supplies. So those are gonna go up to my little crafting area. And this still feels like a lot to deal with. I definitely can see that I made a huge dent in the pile of stuff that I have here, but I also have these separate piles now to deal with, and I'm past my 15 minutes. So what do? This has been the barrier for me in the past. Now that it's all sorted, I would just pile it up someplace else. But I want a different outcome, so I'm not going to keep doing the same things that I typically would do. Now that I have all of these piles sorted, I can be in a little bit different mindset as I go through them. For example, sentimental items Now I can take them to the place that we store our sentimental items in our memory boxes, sort them into the different boxes, and make decisions about them right then. I don't have to think about my sentimental items at the same time that I'm thinking about my donation items or my things to take upstairs or important papers and things that I might need to shred and things that I might need to throw away. It's all kind of mixed together when it's on this pile on my desk. But when I sort them into categories, I can almost be like an assembly line going through my items. We can get into the right mindset and tackle each of these piles individually with the right path forward. And all of the sudden, the mystery of our piles has been totally eliminated. So now that we know what we have, it's a little easier for me to understand what's happening with our piles, what my habits are that are contributing to the chaos that has been happening in this office. Now, I knew from the get-go that books were going to be an important part of the things that were down here. I do need to declutter books. I'm just not at that stage yet, mostly because I really want to focus on this office space and get all of our paper under control and then move into some of the other areas of our home. In the past, I have thought that certain things were kind of gumming up the works, so to speak, but it turns out that books are a major issue in here, as well as school papers. A lot of the items that I ended up throwing away were old items from school or Sunday school. They just were papers that the kids had brought home and we just didn't need. Now, I do have a small pile of important papers. Those need to get put into our filing cabinet, but there's a problem there. Unfortunately, the filing cabinet is full of a bunch of other stuff that we don't need, which is what we will be covering next time as we continue to work through this office. If you'd like to follow along on this journey, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button so that we can spend a little more time simplifying our lives and strengthening our faith. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to check out the other playlist right up here, and I will see you in the next one.